Whatever. It's recording now.
Good morning, Stephen Downey. How are you?
I'm great, Nicola. Great to actually talk to you. We've planned this for a week or two, so it's great to finally get to sit down and go through all these questions. Thanks a million for
Yeah,
asking.
and the questions look great. Your office looks great.
It's taken a very long time for it to come together. It's my Our Mindful Moments studio. So the hope is to be able to do more Facebook Lives from here and do more of this, like just helping out people that have questions about mindfulness.
For sure. I'm really proud of you, Stephen, for all that you've achieved.
Nicola, that honestly does mean a lot. Thank you so much.
Like, honestly, your growth and your belief and your vision behind your company is really very admirable.
Thank you.
And we need more people like you in the world.
Well, there's plenty out there. They're sitting there worried about fear and worried about judgment like I was a few years ago. And it just takes, It takes working on yourself and time and patience. And
for sure. The patience thing is really important, Stephen, because there's a lot of people that want to get, you know, the way people would say, oh, I just want to be like you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want anybody to be like you or anybody to be like me. I want everybody to fill their own boots, to emulate little parts of people that they admire, emulate parts of their character.
Yeah.
But you know yourself, easily gotten is easily lost.
Yeah.
So the patience bit is really important, and building yourself brick by brick by brick with a solid foundation made of cement and not sand. I can't stress that enough for people.
That's exactly it, Nicola, because there's so many people that they see someone that might be doing things at this level in comparison where they think they are, and they think they have to just bridge that gap. And it's not. It's bridging this little gap here, like you said, and just working up all the way up. And it's like so many people, they want to get from A to B and to Z so quick, but it's all about those little steps, and it's about taking little actions every single day. And it's consistency. You know, if you stick with something and you don't give up, it just turns into a journey, and it's not about getting to that last end goal. It's just about all those little small actions all the way.
And building your foundation correctly is really important.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I'm going to crack on with the first question.
Yes.
First question is, how do I stop random thoughts about everything and anything in my mind when I'm trying to listen to the steps of how to breathe and relax, etc.? My mind keeps wandering off.
I've been meditating for 6 years, and the exact same thing happens to me. There are people that have meditated for 30 years. And the one thing I can say is don't try to fight it, because that's natural. And the whole thing about mindfulness is it's about bringing attention to that, and it's about bringing awareness to that, so that you're aware they're there. So it's treat them with those thoughts with a gentle curiosity. So when you are trying to meditate and those thoughts are part of your meditation. They're a building block of the muscle that you're trying to build, because naturally our body just wants to think. It wants to ruminate over a conversation we've had yesterday. It wants to think about what's happening tomorrow. And the whole idea is that just have no judgment. There's some very, very important steps within mindfulness called there's no judgment, there's acceptance, and there's letting go. And those three things come into those thoughts, so that it's not, there's nothing wrong with having those thoughts. Those thoughts are natural.
Letting them go is important.
Letting them go. And it's about
them pass through like tumbleweeds.
Yep, that's it. Just try and let them go, because those thoughts are very important, because you're processing things, and you're not meditating to forget them. You're meditating to build those muscles so that they mean less, so that when you're ruminating over something that might have happened in the past or a decision that you have to make, bring your mind back to your breath and to your body. And it's not about letting go. And there's nothing wrong with having those. That yes, you will have thoughts, and mindfulness will never get rid of all those thoughts, but it will change how you perceive those thoughts. Okay. That they'll be less important to you. So I think I wouldn't worry about that. It happens to me all the time, and it's
okay. Can I ask a question? If you are meditating and you have the monkey mind and it's going,
yeah,
is that because you've had a long period of time where you haven't been processing your thoughts correctly?
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a muscle, right? So if you're not building that muscle up to try and accept and let go and it's going to take a while to, you're going to go back into that, like you said, the monkey mind. So if anyone doesn't understand, the idea of monkey mind is that it's a monkey's crate. It's going from tree to tree. It's going everywhere. And that's the way your thoughts are naturally going. They're jumping from thought to thought, from tree to tree. And it takes a while to kind of get that. And sometimes, yeah, when you're not grounded and you're not back in your body and in your breath, you can stick more up here and you're thinking more about the thoughts. So it is only natural. That's what I'd say.
Okay. Let me go on to the next one. Oh, incorrect pen. That's not good. When I'm in stressful situations, particularly in work,
yeah,
I suffer really bad panic internally, palpitations and hand sweating and shaking. Is there a way meditation will work to help me to keep this under control when I'm not actually listening to the steps?
Okay. There's two situations there, right? There's the work situation, but there's also a meditation situation. One thing I'll say, just for work, and when you do get anxious in that, number one thing to do is ground yourself. To try and come back into your body. That you're trying to say, I have to do this, I have to do this, I have to do this, and you're kind of worried. But what can you do right now? There's one task, one action that you can take to get you to whatever task you want to achieve at the end. But like monotask, it's a very important thing. I find when I'm in a situation where I have to handle a lot of things at the same time, you have to make a decision and just pick what is the most important decision at that time, and monotask. Just try and think of one thing that you can do at that time. Don't try to multitask. Don't try to please everybody, because it's the anxiety is from a fear-based place you're coming, and it's about fear of letting other people down. It might, well, I don't know what in this.
And fear judgment, probably.
Fear judgment, absolutely. But you have to just think, what can you do right now? But the other side of that is what mindfulness will help you a lot is about grounding, about actually getting out of those thoughts. And there's one thing actually we talk about in mindfulness called the observer and the the observer and the undercurrent. And it's all about, if you think about a river and the current of a river, and your thoughts, they can be a little stream, but if you let them ruminate too much and build up, that stream can get bigger and bigger and turn into a river, and the current can get stronger. And the whole idea within the observer and undercurrent is that you observe what you're thinking, and within your meditation, that you can try and step back from your thoughts and just view them. So if you visually think of it like a river going past, and you're just sitting on the bank. You're just sitting on the bank and observing those thoughts going past. And you're not getting swept away with one thought that leads to another thought that brings you down further and further and further down that river. You want to step back up here and just sit back and just experience.
So
detach. Try and detach. That's
you're
the
not
part,
your thoughts.
That's the letting go. Just
of your thoughts.
Exactly.
Love that. Okay. Going to sleep. Tried calms. For those of you who don't know, calms are like natural sleeping tablets, aren't they, Stephen?
I actually don't know. I think they are. I thought it was the Calm app.
I think calms is a tablet.
Right. I didn't know. Okay.
Back remedy, hypnosis tape, CDs, wave sounds, etc. Nothing works unless it's heavy dose sleeping pills, which I don't want to rely on. Is there anything I can do without playing devices, etc., so I can stop the thoughts racing? Nighttime is when my mind is most active, when worry and anxiety is at its peak,
right?
Especially when everything is silent and it's time for rest.
Okay. When I saw this question earlier, actually, I just picked up something that I didn't say earlier on about playing devices. So this person doesn't want any kind of device or anything in the background. Would that be right?
But you know what, Stephen? I'm not too sure that people realise. You know, when you use Insight Timer, the app that you're featured on.
Yep. More meditations coming soon, actually.
Good. I'm looking forward to them. I don't think people realise that when the meditation is over, that it shuts off.
Yeah, it does.
You know, So it's really important for people to know that when you're using Insight Timer, using the app should not be another form of stress for you and something else to have to worry about or control or think about afterwards.
And
because when you're finished your meditation, hopefully you're asleep by that stage, but that the app itself the whole phone just shuts down.
yeah, and it's such a important thing, because the last thing you want is when you're in the middle of doing a meditation and you feel like you might fall asleep, to be constantly worried and getting distracted about the thing you're actually listening to.
Yes.
But in terms, like, one thing I found, geez, I'd say about 2 years ago, and it is amazing, right? Because a lot of people have this fear, like if they're meditating and they're listening to something at nighttime, should I be falling asleep, right? The good news is there is sleep meditation, and it's actually a form of yoga called Yoga Nidra, Nidra, and it actually is about bringing you into a sleep state. So if you have problems sleeping at night, I'd highly, highly, highly recommend it. As I was saying to Nicola earlier on, I've a couple of links for actually in Insight Timer. I have a few links for meditations within that.
Wonderful.
I've also got there's a guy I know in the UK, Stephen Webb, and he has an extremely popular sleep meditation on Insight Timer. I think it's about 500,000 people have listened to it now.
Wow.
And
must be brilliant.
he's actually amazing. He's I won't distract for too long, but about 25 years ago he had an accident and he's paralyzed from the waist down, and he's now a meditation teacher, and he's an amazing guy. Follow him. It's Stephen.
Is he an Irish guy?
No, he's in the UK. He's near Cornwall, I think. But he's actually I've connected him to a group, and he's actually helped me an awful lot on my journey as well. He's a lovely, lovely person. But Stephen with a V and Webb, Webb, if you look him up.
If you could give us those links, that'd be great.
No, I'll send you on the meditation, and his page is actually fantastic. He does live shows all the time. Anyway, so in terms of sleep, Yoga Nidra is fantastic. It's great for sleeping. But if it is within the silence and you're ruminating, and it literally only happened to me 2 nights ago where I was thinking of all sorts of things going on. And it can be stressful when you're getting down that river, and try to visualize just coming back into your body. Try to sitting on that river and just looking those thoughts come by, and just bring it back to the breath. And it's always go back to your breath and just feel what's your breath at now? Is it up here or is it down in your belly? And if you can do, I'd say, Nicola, you probably talked before about box breathing. I can do something.
I haven't actually.
Have you not? All right. So
no.
Box breathing is about you're taking 4 breaths and in four different cycles. I can do it very quickly now if that helps. So what you do when you're lying down and you're comfortable, the idea is that you're taking a breath for 4 in, you're holding for 4, you're letting it out for 4, and then you're holding for 4. So I'll do a quick demonstration. Is that you're breathing in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, and then you're repeating that, and you're going in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Believe it or not, the most important part of that is the pause. It's the pause between your 2 breaths, just to hold your body and ground it for those 4 seconds. So what I'd recommend is to do that and repeat it for 5 times. So you're going to go in, hold, out, hold for 5 times. And what that will do is literally it calms down the nervous system. Yes. And after 5, you'll notice that you're slightly calmer. And because you're concentrating on counting those numbers, it's distracting you from your thoughts. And that's the whole idea of really just changing the tempo, changing what you're thinking about, and changing who you are in that moment. And
for sure. And can I just add on to that, Stephen?
Yep.
For this person who's and it sounds like a really big struggle for me that person is having that every single night of the week. Like, that's stressful. To even the thoughts of even going to bed. For me, if that was me, that used to be me, by the way. I used to be that girl. However, what I do want to say is that if somebody has created this unhealthy cycle over a very, very long period of time, it's really hard to break that cycle.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to just throw a seed out of to make a conscious decision that the way that this person has been doing it with entertaining the thoughts
Yeah,
hasn't worked so far. So if we continue to do the same thing and expect a different outcome, that's the definition of madness. Okay.
that's it.
So from my perspective, the approach to this is accepting the fact that it hasn't worked. So we need to make a conscious decision that when this does start,
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to then ask ourselves a different question.
Yeah.
Is this happening now? Do I have control over this? Generally, the answer is no. Am I fearing judgment? And if the answer is yes and it falls under any of those categories, I am consciously choosing now to let this go because this does not serve the highest version of who I am. If I am consciously engaging and entertaining these thoughts, I am participating in low vibration energy. And what you're not changing, you're choosing. So it's really important that people are aware that if they're consciously not trying to change this, that they're choosing this.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
absolutely. And it's a hard truth to hear, but
Yeah, listen, that's a bitter pill to swallow, Steve.
yeah, it's like if you are repeating the same patterns over and over and over again and expecting a different result, you're not going to get that result. So maybe work backwards, focus on what you actually want to achieve and how you can actually achieve that. And what would you feel in the moment of feeling that, not what you feel right now. And
Do you know
listen,
what I heard the other day, Steve, that blew my mind? Like, it literally blew my mind because it's so simple. I love all the simple ideas. When you're not changing something, it's like going to the airport expecting to get on a boat. Like, that to
yeah,
me is just like, it's that simple,
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
you know?
Yeah,
I'm going to move on to the next question.
great.
Okay.
I have some notes on
So,
something.
I'm practicing meditation daily, usually first thing in the morning and last thing at night. I've made progress from when I started Headspace doing 3 to 5 minutes a day and up to 45 minutes a day now. And this is key, Stephen, because this person started off with little itsy bitsy
Yeah.
and has built it up. This is a perfect example of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I usually do guided meditations, but I can do some level of unguided meditations too if I have the right settings, such as if I'm out in nature.
Yeah.
I have read that meditation is a way of being rather than doing. And I have been trying to achieve a more present and mindful state all through my day, not just when I'm actually doing meditation practice. How do I progress this? Thanks. I love that question.
How do I progress it? You're top of the class. They're already there. See,
Yeah.
this is the other thing with mindfulness. It's about acceptance that you don't have to constantly get how you progress it is you keep consistent. That like that person is at a stage that lots of people only dream of, to actually get that consistent.
I'm not even at that stage, Stephen, and I'm fucking meditating since I'm a teenager.
Either am I. I don't do 45 minutes a day.
No.
I do 20 minutes in the morning, and I'd say about 5 or 6 different practices during the day, which are informal. They're not meditations, but they're a part of bringing you present and in the moment. And maybe that might help. Maybe informal practice actually instead. So if I can think of any informal practice, actually there's and I'm going to talk to him in a second about this person in a second. But I was on a retreat with a guy in March called David G. He's a amazing meditation teacher from California, and he worked out at the Chakra Center for years. He was the head teacher there. But a meditation that he taught us was a 16-second meditation for when you go into a new space or a new door. And it's very similar to that box breathing that we did earlier on. But the idea is that as you walk towards the door, you're putting your hand out and you breathe in for 4, you open your door, you breathe out for 4, you walk in, you breathe in for 4, you let the door pass you, and you're out for 4. And it's an informal practice. No one needs to know you're doing this. That's the great thing about it. But it's about bringing a different energy into a room. And there's so many different informal practices you can do, like setting reminders on your phone.
Listen, if I didn't have reminders, I don't know where I'd be.
just to bring you back to where you are. So maybe it's kind of have like there's an app called Meditation Bell that will actually chime a bell, and you can set it at random times as well. And that will bring you during the day just to stop you and be aware. Like I always use the time 11:11 in the morning, and when I'm working, my watch is normally on the desk in front of me if I'm working on computer or anything, and I always look when it's about 11 just for that time, and literally just hold space, close your eyes. Where are you feeling right now? Where are you breathing right now? And how are you in your body in general? And maybe bring those type of informal practices into your practice might help. But in terms of meditation,
my informal practices,
yeah, brilliant.
It's similar to the door one, but not. It doesn't take as long.
Yeah.
Every single time I walk through a door frame, I check my shoulders. So when I'm moving from a space to a space, or if I'm going from a transition space into a different, when I walk through a frame, I just say, right, Nick, bring it down.
Yeah.
So I'm renewing my energy before I walk into the next space.
Absolutely. Brilliant.
There was another informal one that I wanted to tell you. What was the last one that you just said? It triggered something for me.
I said about the time, the 11:11, and checking in with yourself at certain times.
Yeah, the reminders on my phone are very, very important.
Yeah.
Really, really important. Oh, here's my another informal practice is when I feel a shift in my body.
Yeah.
And my body starts to speak to me to tell me that I'm feeling challenged. I ask myself the question immediately. Are you operating from a space of love? What would your higher self do right now?
Yeah.
And what would love do?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Hopefully that will help.
Absolutely. Nicola, I'm also thinking, because we're on Zoom at the moment, there is a time limit of, I think it's 40 minutes or something for the call as well. So
and what are we at now?
Just to be aware, I actually not sure what time we started at. So just in case, actually I do know because we recorded this. 9:45. Yeah, we've got about 5-10 minutes.
Okay.
Just to be aware, that's all.
Okay. My problem with meditation only started after my surgery when my sleeping problems escalated. I struggle to let go in the evenings and relax before bed, so meditating is stressing me at night. This is kind of answering the same question.
Yeah.
I went back to putting my legs up the way or bend my knees against the wall over the bolster pillows and close my eyes. Just breathe, count 4 to 5 out breaths and 4 or 5 in breaths. Counting stops the chatter in my head. Exactly like what you said.
Yep.
This was working, but now with hormones all over the place at the moment, exhaustion and emotional fatigue, I'm too tired to focus and don't let go at night. The morning is easier for me, keeping my routine disciplined and not going downstairs first. Getting up a few minutes earlier, I set an alarm. I'm arguing with that alarm this week as energy is low. I listen to Louise L. Hay, Wayne Dyer meditations from audiobooks. I have Headspace app too. Dip in and out of that. For me, it's tailoring my meditation to my mood. As with this morning, when I was interrupted, I just decided that was enough and I'll try again later. The YouTube Meditative Mind is a good one to try as a month's sample. So we've kind of covered the nighttime stuff.
But just to say, there's one really important thing weaved into all of that, is that, I don't know if it's a he or she, but they're doing exactly what works when it works. They're changing to different patterns, because at the moment, like the counter might work sometimes, breath might work sometimes. Like, and even actually in what we do actually in the course I'm doing at the moment actually is we say breathing in, breathing out in our mind as we're actually doing it, and that's a different part. If counting is too much, sometimes just actually having a small mantra like that can help a lot. But changing your practice to what is suiting you at that time is vital, because we all get bored. Sometimes
I'm so pleased you said that, Stephen.
Yeah. There's you don't have to stick rigidly to doing a certain type of practice. Like there's all sorts. There's like there's listening to your breath, just listen to the soundscapes. Within mindfulness anyway, there's body scans. But then, like I've done angel meditation. I've done all sorts of different meditation that works with me at that time. And that is the important essence of meditation, is that just do what works. You know, you don't have to achieve a certain level. You don't have to be like anyone else. It's your mind, and it's what works for your mind.
That's fantastic, Stephen. Thanks for pointing that out. I would have never thought to say that.
Yeah.
I'm looking for mindfulness tips, how to stop thinking of a million things at once. Everybody's asking the same thing.
Yeah.
What is Stephen's best tip to be mindful throughout the day? We've just covered this. Therefore, to be less stressed and more present. Also, are mantras beneficial to use during meditation? I've heard transcendental meditation is really effective and uses mantras. I've heard that it can boost your energy levels. Or is it plain old focusing on breath and letting thoughts pass the best way?
Going back to it's what works for you at the time. When I was on that meditation retreat with David G, he does a lot with mantras, and it's all actually in like Sanskrit, or it's in Hindu, or there are 3 words that, and the way he had it was off the top of my head I can't think of them, but it was all basically kind of, there was, the first word was for your head, the first was for your heart, and the first was for your what's your chakra down there? Your solar plexus, and it's kind of bring you grounded. And what he explained it was that the words itself, when you're meditating with a mantra, don't actually matter. It's because it's actually tricking your mind to constantly say those words, because your concentration is on those words, and it's not getting distracted to go to other things. Now there is, like, if you're doing a loving kindness meditation, and there's mantras within that where you're may you be peaceful, may you live in harmony, and there's mantras that have a meaning like that. But different types of mantras have different meanings, and there's a great page actually that David G has on his site about it. And like I said, I'm going to give you all the links later to share with everyone in the groups. But he has great talk about mantras. But to get back to what can you do during the day to be more mindful, it's checking in with yourself. Even like every time you take a trip to the bathroom, when you sit down, how is my head? How is my breath? How is my heart? And just those 3 simple things, and just check in with yourself, because we're constantly in doing mode and getting like I got up this morning. I was telling you, I spent about 20 minutes having a fight over whether a 4-year-old wanted a green plate or a blue plate.
Or a blue plate.
And it was the most important thing for him at that time. And poor fella, he's so emotional. He had to just let it all out. And eventually I reminded him that there was a green Hulk on his top, and green is just his day. And we couldn't get the blue one at the time. But anyway, I'm getting distracted from saying. But the idea is, it's like I was in doom mode. I was just in there. But when I came back into out here to actually talk to you, before I did any of that, I did a 3-minute breathing space. And actually, that's free one. A guy called Mark Williams. He's one of the top leading people in mindfulness. And I'll send you on the link. He has a lot of free meditations. But one of his is a 3-minute breathing space. And if you have earphones on, you can do this with your eyes open. And it's just about bringing you back into your body, checking where your head is, checking where your breath is, and where are you within your space that you're in at the moment. And you can do it with people around you. They don't even have to know that you're listening to it. And it's just a 3-minute meditation. But there's so many tricks. I honestly think that informal mindfulness practice is just as important as a formal meditation and sitting down for 20-30 minutes every single day. And it's all about just checking in with yourself and going from that A to B mode, and I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do that, and just stopping. Just give yourself a rest, you know?
Do you know another thing I do, Stephen, is, and now that you're saying like what's informal practice, I didn't even realise I was doing informal practice until today. So I would stop sometimes in the kitchen and I'd say, "What, Nicola, just check in," because my body talks to me like it's like a feckin' finely tuned violin at this stage. So I'm checking in my body. I'm like, "Right, Nicola, what do you need right now?" And it might be as simple as a glass of water.
Yeah.
What do you need right now? I might need a hug.
Yep.
There might not be anybody around to give me a hug. And I'm like, "No, Nick, you're fucking great. Give myself a fucking hug. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just checking in and saying, what does your higher self need right now? Because we don't ask ourselves what we need
And
right now.
it's vitally important, that like in our busy lives, we can be doing so many things and handling and juggling so much at the time. And just it only takes 20, 30 seconds just to check in. What do you need right now? What is important to you? And the world is not going to fall around in 30 seconds, but
No.
your approach to that world and how you can actually deal with it will change in those 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So,
Do you know what, Stephen? I'm not joking, I'm after getting, since I put my hands there and since I've been talking to you and all of this wonderful information that we're going to be able to share with so many people, my heart feels so light, open.
Yeah.
My body feels soft. My shoulders are down. And I'm just like, do you know what? It is so important to have really cool connections. Like, this conversation is bleeding deadly as far as I'm concerned.
And it's likewise, it's about like stepping out from the world you're in and just connections are, I've realized that in the last few years that it doesn't matter. Success has absolutely nothing to do with what you own, what material things you have. It's about those connections. And I think it was you that said, I hope they run out of bread at my communion or at my funeral. And that is the type of life I want. I want to make so many connections in the world and meet so many beautiful people and like learn from them and them to learn from me. But you can only do that if you're constantly coming from a space of love. If you're constantly coming from the place where your inner and your higher self are out there and you're not worried about what other people are thinking. You're not worried about why you're doing it. You're doing it because it's a passion and you're doing this because it's coming from your heart. And geez, I'm getting emotional even talking about this.
Oh my God, this is deep.
It's like this is what life is about. It's like, it's not about paying those bills. You can still have those bills. You can still have those, I've 3 children that keep me busy all the time, but I love them with all my heart. And what matters in life is those connections. Like even, like Nicola, there was one time a couple of months back there, I was in a coffee shop in Carrigan-Shannon and I got stopped by a person who worked in a place I used to buy my lunch in 5 years before that. And I remembered her, she remembered me purely because we used to see each other on a daily basis and it just had a connection and just a chat. It was only for 5 seconds.
For a few minutes, just an important, meaningful connection.
It meant so much to her. She was on a totally different pattern in her life. She started with a business in Carrigan-Shannon. She was doing all these great things. And for her to be able to share that with someone that she had connected with, like how beautiful is that? And that's purely from me, not looking at my phone when I'm buying a sandwich, not standing in a queue, thinking about something else. I'm just there and I'm just talking to people around me. And like it's just connections are the most important thing you can do in your life.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Your tribe, your community, your connections, your people. That's where the gravy is.
I have absolutely loved this conversation, Nicola.
Me too.
It's been brilliant. And I better stop recording here because I don't want to lose anything at the end.
Oh my goodness. Listen, Namaste.
Namaste. And what Namaste means, I put a post up actually recently about means. It means the light in me honors the light in you. And Nicola Connolly Byrne, it unbelievably honors the light in you, because I said to you, the first time we met at your workshop, you talk about hearts exploding. I just knew there was a connection there on a higher level. And I actually put my arms around that day on the stage when we were getting a pitch, and I said, Nicola, I've waited 40 years to meet you. Honestly, and I mean it. Anytime we're together, I just get such a connection on a higher level that
me too.
Like, it's fantastic. So listen, thank you I'm so honored that you asked me to have this conversation.
Thank you for your time, because the time is people's, biggest commodity. So I'm very grateful to you for your time and your knowledge.
Yeah, it's and listen, believe it or not, everybody sitting out there, anyone listening to this, there's more knowledge up in that head than you actually realize. And
Yeah,
have
for
those
sure.
conversations, talk to people, share what's in what you dream and what you believe in.
Mm.
Because life's about journeys. It's about
For sure. And I'm
life.
glad that you said that about everybody has more knowledge than they realize, and I'll tell you why. And this is a Reiki practice. Everybody already knows everything that they need to know for their soul's purpose. But when they're listening to stuff like this, all we're doing is reconnecting the information for them, because their higher self already knows this.
Absolutely.
All right. Listen, take it
Right.
easy.
Take it easy. Thank you so much. All right. So I'm going to